This meeting is being recorded.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mercy Daramola, Interim Director of Post-Secondary with the Puget Sound College and Career Network. It's my pleasure to share with you an August 2021 update of the King County Promise, an initiative that has been in development for many years, and we're excited to share with you some exciting things that are coming up for our future programming. Join me today and learn more. Today, you will learn about the King County Promise background, vision, mission, strategies, and program models. You'll be able to identify key King County Promise contacts and understand upcoming Promise timelines. As I mentioned, I am part of the Puget Sound College and Career Network, Puget Sound College and Career Network, or PSCCN, and we are a network based at the Puget Sound Educational Service District that builds regional capacity to increase post-secondary readiness. We do that by providing professional learning and resources, coaching and technical assistance, pilot support and innovation, different strategies, provide systems alignment, coordination, and partnership development, and systemic barrier identification and removal. And we're committed to removing barriers so first generation, students from low-income backgrounds, and students of color have the opportunity to access and obtain post-secondary credentials. Now, the phenomenal PSCCN team is comprised of Naveed Badri, PSCCN Manager, Lila Christ, PSCCN and Senior Program Coordinator, Christian Granlund, PSCCN Manager, David Davis, PSCCN Program Coordinator, and myself, Mercy Daramola, Interim Post-Secondary Director. Now, you joined us because you want to know what is King County Promise, so let me let you know. So King County Promise is a program that's intended to create a future system for our students and young people, one that's perfectly designed to get the results that you see here on the screen, so that 70% of our students across King County can earn a post-secondary credential, closing opportunity gaps. The system, we intend it to be equitably funded, provide targeted supports, coordinated pathways, be student-centered and accountable. In order to do that, PSCCN has been engaging these partners and more that you see on the screen, who represent community-based organizations, community and technical colleges, K-12 districts, state, local, and regional agencies around education, student advocacy, and more. Together, we created a collective vision that has 4 key areas. One is that all youth of color and other historically underserved young people can receive high-quality support to choose, pursue, and succeed in their post-secondary paths. Next is that substantial system capacity is built across K-12, higher education, and communities to ensure more equitable supports. Next, our vision is to make our institutions make significant improvements to coordinate, align, and simplify the journey to completion. And finally, to demonstrate to Washington State the programming, evidence-based practices, and staffing levels needed to achieve high post-secondary enrollment and success rates. Our mission in order to achieve that vision is that districts, CTCs, and CDOs, supported by PSCCN, work in partnership to ensure that King County students and young people obtain post-secondary credentials through shared strategies, data, staff, and funding, with their focus on racial equity, continuous learning, and implementing system changes in order to create a sustainable, comprehensive post-secondary access and success system that is highly supportive, that is equitable, and accessible. The strategies used in that mission in order to achieve that vision are, for students, providing them with collaborative advisors at high school and CTCs and community organizations. Also for students to be able to receive an equity stipend of $1,000 as non-tuition for them while they're in community technical colleges and engage in promise advising. For our staff who are at K-12, CTC, and CBO staff who are providing post-secondary advising to students and young people at high quality ratios. Professional development for the promise advising staff that's ongoing and provides them support in their work. and also common advising resources containing both content and also milestones that support students' journey toward their post-secondary credential attainment. And finally, for our systems and partners, for leadership across our K-12, CBO, and CTCs, who can coordinate and participate in leadership groups as they are implementing promise advising strategies. Also, assessment and continuous improvement, engaging in and monitoring regular individual and partnership assessments and improvement plans. Share data tracking so that there's an established promise data sharing approach, being able to track and report outcomes, and also administer promise surveys for staff, students, and more. And also a financial commitment. So our CTC and K-12 funded partners will be able to maintain financial matches at our 10-to-5 ratios for PASTA funds towards promise-related strategies, and also actively participate in fundraising initiatives from public and private sources. I'll talk a little bit more about what PASTA is, since I just mentioned it here, but not before. But before that, I'm sure you want to know, who is King County Promise actually for? We talked a little bit about the vision, mission, and strategies. Let's talk about our key audiences. So King County students and young people are who we care about at the heart of King County Promise. We have an exclusive focus on youth of color, youth from families at or below 200% of the federal poverty level, youth who identify as LGBTQ+, youth who experience homelessness or foster care, youth with disabilities, and other young people who have been historically underserved in King County, age 26 and under. Because King County Promise is really focused on post-secondary credential attainment, helping students receive any sort of education after high school, we're focusing on that transition and preparation space, as well as when they are actually in school beyond high school. So we focus on students who are in high school as high school students. We focus on our community and technical college students. But we also focus on opportunity youth and working young people, students and young people who may not currently be in school or employed between 16 and 26, and or may be employed but not in a living wage earning job, and are hoping to be able to get a post-secondary credential to help them on that journey. Now, for our partners who are eligible, there are 4 institution types that are eligible to come together as partnerships for Promise funding in order to implement Promise strategies. So 1, our K-12 districts, all public K-12 districts in King County, and any King County charter school that is serving students grades 9 through 12. Next, our K-12 and CTC students serving CBOs. So any nonprofit currently serving King County High School and or CTC students with college access and or college success support services. Third, our Opportunity Youth serving CBO. So any nonprofit currently serving King County Opportunity Youth, again, who are not currently in school or with working in living wage earning jobs, who are also supporting students. Those students are young people with college access and or college success support services. And finally, our community and technical colleges. So all community and technical colleges in King County who are public 2-year colleges, all 4 institution types are eligible for King County Promise funding. Entities will then apply as a Promise partnership, focused on a shared group of young people and the Promise priority population mentioned above. And each institution within a partnership, though, will receive direct funding. Now, King County Promise Phase 1, we'll talk more about phase a little bit later, but Phase 1 by the numbers. So PASTA, or Puget Sound Taxpayer Accountability Account, as I mentioned, is a key primary funder for King County Promise. And for Phase 1 funding, there's $12.7 million available to serve approximately 12,000 students across King County and the population above, and through about 60 new advising staff who are supporting students a year per K-12, CBO, and CTCs across K-12, CBO, and CTCs. Now, King County Promise is informed by our partners who currently are doing the work in CTC, CBO, and K-12 around supporting students with advising and post-secondary attainment and more. And so we have quite a bit of King County Promise that reflects the best and the brightest of what's already in the region, but there are some new elements. Let me tell you a little bit about what those are. First is the Puget Sound Taxpayer Accountability Account, PASTA funding. So that's $112.4 million in PASTA funds to be deployed over the next 15 years. That will be matched and in different ways. I'll talk about a little bit later, but that's a key new element that is a part of King County Promise as we launch this program. Next, Promise strategies. For students, they'll be connected with connected advising staff, both in and out of school, and support in their transition from K-12 or out of school into CTCs. Many staff and organizations already provide similar partnerships. The King County Promise will provide that in a more connected, seamless way through Promise strategies and build upon what's currently in the region. Also brand new will be the $1,000 non-tuition grants for CTC students who are part of Promise Advising. New for Promise funded staff, there'll be the collaborative advising and programming provided together in support with a shared data system that will allow staff to input and track common milestones and progress for Promise students, both from the K-12 and CTC level that can be used in their advising support. Also, Promise staff will be provided professional development that will allow them to be able to learn and share common strategies, approaches, data, and more that support them as they're providing advising to students, and common advising resources such as content and milestones, so that great resources that staff have in one area can be shared across the region, so that students in all Promise schools and more can have access to high quality resources and supports. For our systems and partners, we provided additional funding to hire Promise staff, a key component of the Promise model. They'll also be provided with partnership supports from PSCCN, including ways to encourage collaborative leadership, ongoing data and assessment, technical assistance as they provide Promise advising, and more. Also, what's new for Promise partners will be the assessment and continuous improvement done in a collaborative way to identify how Promise advising and advising strategies are being implemented and supporting student outcomes, and an ability to work collaboratively to provide interventions or celebrations as Promise programming continues. Next is a shared data tracking that encourages and really grounds Promise work in ability to cross systems so that advisors and staff from K-12 are able to access information and data as students transition into their post-secondary programming and vice versa. And finally, what's new for our partners will be financial commitment for our CTC and K-12 partners to provide a match to the Promise funding initially provided. And so why is King County Promise important? We've talked about the what, talked about the how, and now a little bit about the why. So students have been sharing and know that what's most helpful for them when they are looking to learn about college is the information that they get from their school staff. So being in school and being able to learn about how to access information about college, how to be provided the space and time and a support about transferring to post-secondary. That's really important from the school-based perspective, as shown from this data point from the Community Center for Education results in a recent survey they did of young people across the region. In addition, CCER, Community Center for Education results, also has this really helpful data point that show that 95% of our students want to attain post-secondary. One, knowing that that 70% of our jobs in the region will require a credential, but only 30% of our students have been able to complete a credential or a post-secondary credential at this time. In addition, we know that opportunity youth for students and young people, or for young people who are not in school or currently living wage earning job, as you see from this, this slide representing some of the phenomenal supports that local organizations that support students who are young people who are out of school in their journey back into post-secondary are able to really thrive. As you can see here, participants can be 3 times more likely to enroll in post-secondary education when provided with supports, as you see at the top of the screen. And then at the bottom of the screen, when we specifically focus on students or young men of color, they were 7 times more likely to enroll in post-secondary education. And so that individualized support is so critical to students' post-secondary journeys. And again, as we mentioned earlier, the system that we're looking to create is one that is the opposite of what we see here, because that's many of the elements of the system that we currently have: inequitable funding, activities that are haphazard and not disconnected or not connected with experiences for students. Institutions are siloed in key ways that can provide challenges to students and young people. And accountability for our students and for outcomes isn't centered where it could and should be. And so as we see, our current results have a stark disconnect between where our students want to go and what they're actually able to attain. Another current challenge that we see that leads to some of the why are that our students are, based on where they are in school, have access to different levels of resources. So a sample high school in our region has a median income of over $100,000 for parents and families, and has about 1,500 students, 10% of which are from low-income backgrounds. And yet the ratio that there's 6 college advisors and counselors, as opposed to another high school in a region that has a median income of a little less than $65,000 a year, 2,000 plus students, over 50% of whom are from low-income backgrounds, and yet has the same amount of college counselors or high school college counselors and college advisors, which is also a shared challenge that you may see at the college level. When we see the advisor ratios and the both at the recommended level, which would be 1 to 450, but our current level, which is 1 to 800, or even up to 1 to 1,500. So another current challenge, as we mentioned, King County Promise focuses on opportunity youth. This data point is a little bit outdated. So we thought at one point we had about 20,000 opportunity youth without necessarily as many formal on-ramps to college once leaving K-12 with or even without a high school diploma. And because we have, and because we have the ability to implement King County Promise now, even post-COVID, we believe it's even more important to be able to think about some of our whys to support and address our young people's needs. So how can King County Promise work? Partnership sites. So as I mentioned, the mission of Promise is partners coming together to really implement and support young people, implement strategies to support young people. So the 4 institution types will come together to identify the students in a prioritized population that they would like to serve, and they will be surrounded by another layer of support, which includes PSCCN and King County DCHS. So King County DCHS will be providing the funding from the initial funding source, PASTA, Puget Sound Taxpayer Accountability Account, directly to each institution within a Promise partnership. And PSCCN will provide implementation support, so TA support to each partnership site, alongside support with the fundraising and additional match needed for the programming. Our long-term goal is that there will be partnership sites across the region, comprised of institutions and supporting students across King County, and the shared leadership bodies, as you see here, supporting the high-quality partnerships all across. So PSCCN's role, a little bit more deeper, is to ensure overall cohesion across multiple program areas, but also partnerships. Also making sure that we maintain a clear, consistent focus on addressing equity gaps, and supporting the efficient and effective use and leveraging of the initial funding source PASTA, but also private funding that's to be raised along the way. Our roles will include technical assistance, partnership support, professional development and learning, and high quality materials. We will facilitate the system improvement, continuous improvement, and also the cross-system policy alignment, making sure the things that we learn from the ways that King County Promise partners are implementing strategies and sharing back and forth with us and with one another can be used to actually move things forward and change systems. Also, improving the ways that we access data and facilitating the practitioner-led cycles inquiry and improvement so that we can learn from all levels, using data from students, but also what our staff across King County Promise partners and advisors are doing, and finding ways to embed that learning along the way. So great work that an advisor may do in a high school can be shared with another advisor at a different Promise partnership site, but also across the region, and that we can learn what is the best and the brightest, and how can that be used to continue to support our students and move our work forward. Communication, private fundraising, advocacy, and also convening advisory. We want to continue making sure that we are in tune with the folks who are doing the work as we continue to grow King County Promise over time. And that's what we'll continue doing in our role as PSCCN. Now, you've heard me talk a lot about what we are doing and what we plan to do. So let's talk a little bit about what's next. So I've mentioned before, we've had a phenomenal group of partners all across the region, passionate and in the work, who want to help and have helped inform what we're doing. And so since 2017, partners have been alongside and embedded in the work to help first ground our work in researching from students and parent groups, what could a better advising system look like, co-developing the plan, advocating and securing funding, helping us refine different elements of the programming. And now we're at a place now in June, as you see here, June 2020, last year to present, where we've been collaborating with King County to identify what do we actually want to do to implement Promise over time, and now preparing for phase 1 of King County Promise, which will launch fall of 2022 through 2024, and then 2024 and beyond, the Promise will continue. So it will operate overall King County Promise on a phased implementation plan. So our long-term goal is that all King County community technical colleges and public high schools are participating, and long-term that students who have been historically underserved can receive those individual supports that allow them to be ready to access. But we know that's a long-term vision that we'll need to learn a lot along the way. And so phasing in is our first round of funding and partnerships to be launched next fall through an RFP process to be released this fall. Selecting partnerships quarter 1 of next year, planning, and then launching throughout 2022. Programming will go throughout fall 2022 through 2024, and the first round of phase 1 partnerships will be able to renew their contracts and then have another three-year round of programming. And then there'll be a second phase of partnerships with an RFP to be released in quarter 4 of 2023 for a 3-year programming cycle to take us to our first 5 years of King County Promise. We are on a marathon, not a sprint, and we intend to learn every step of the race and the way. PSCCN support is all the way through. You learned a lot about King County Promise, some of it new, all of it exciting, which I'm sure you're curious, who can you contact for more information? Well, first, before you contact anyone, to learn more information, you can sign up for the PSCCN newsletter and learn more about our summer and fall 2021 Promise engagement sessions, which include more info and feedback sessions to get more details on some more of the what and the how of Promise, but also to talk back. Let us know what you see, let us know what you like, let us know what you want to know more about. And then preparing for phase 1 applications or phase 1 brainstorming, and also a feedback survey. All that information and more will be housed at bit.ly/King County Promise. So please visit us there. And You can connect with Naveed Badri for more information on engagement outreach around King County Promise. And then for general inquiries, you reach out to me, Mercy Aramola, with PSCCN. Now, I'm so grateful that you took the time to listen to all of what we had to share, I had to share today about King County Promise. And I know that there's so much more to share, and there's so much more to hear as well from folks who have been a part of King County Promise before and who have not yet and are wanting to be a part of the continual ways that we continue to grow and develop this work and this programming over time. So please reach out to us, join us at our upcoming engagement sessions, which will be shared on our website or the bit.ly link linked on the presentation. Reach out to us directly, and thank you for joining us today. And I look forward to hearing and sharing with you about more about King County Promise. Thank you.